accidentally bought a plant. I don't know how, it just happened. I just had a coffee and I did some drawing. So I decided today to really concentrate on my poses. Sorry, there's a big road if you can't hear me. But I concentrated on my posing. So we're gonna take that drawing home and I'm gonna show you a little bit of my thought process behind doing a drawing, and we'll color and ink it up. Yay! I just have to think of a name for this plant now. Bye! Okay, so what I normally do is I get a new document, and this is 3000 DPI by 3000. And DPI is kind of how many pixels are in the page, I think. Okay, so I like using like a deep blue ink, so it's not exactly black. Put a little bit of smoothing on. Smoothing just helps the lines, like you have a jittery hand, it'll smooth them out a bit for you. Okay, then I'm going to change the size of this brush. Okay, so the important thing when posing a character, there's lots of things to think about. One of the mistakes I see that a lot of people make, and I used to do them a lot as well, is making everything very up and down. So the shoulders are a flat line, the hips are a flat line, and that's just not how people stand really. Your body is constantly trying to balance itself. So you can see on here my shoulders are that way and my hips would be that way. So you've got this like box. If you imagine your chest as a box there, and then your pelvis as a box as well. And they're kind of balancing on top of each other so that your spine can stay upright, which is running through the middle. And instantly then, if you drew a little waist onto them, you could start to get a human. So if I get a life drawing or something, I always look at where the hip line is and where the shoulder line is. This foot here has almost no weight on it. In real life, I want her to be able to pick that foot up and down and it wouldn't be affected. So what we're going to do is all the weight is going to be on this foot. So this is where whole body weight is going to be sitting, which means that you want the hips to be over that foot more than this foot. So the tilted line will be that way because they're favoring this foot, which means that the shoulders have to be the opposite way. So once you know which way the chest and the pelvis are and where the weight is, you kind of start to get a better picture. So when you're doing poses, there's some psychology comes into it. This is all a bit airy-fairy, not necessarily true, but it's kind of like helps the viewer very quickly see what this person's feeling. I want her to feel a bit nervous about her decision to go to this class. So I'm getting the feet to be facing away from the person. So instead of like having them pointed, instead of having this foot like pointed out here, and this one also being pointed this way, that might make her feel more engaged, like she's like willing to go because her feet are pointing to where she wants to go. You can see this sometimes. If people feel a bit awkward, they point their feet away from the person talking to them. Not always, but some people think that that's quite true. So these feet, I'm having them pointing more towards the camera. And this one, all of the weight is on this foot here, so we're going to have it so that foot is raised up and that knee is being brought in because she's a little bit nervous. This is kind of like a cartoonish pose, like the knee bent in to try and like squash her whole body into itself as much as possible. So I've put her arms, if her arms were just kind of like down here or like out here, she'd look a bit more like gesturing and she would look quite relaxed if her arms were out. But I want the audience to very quickly read that she is nervous and all squashed in, so I'm going to get these arms up around her body and clinging onto this bag. I really want them to look like she's clinging onto this bag for dear life because she is very, very nervous. Okay, I'm just drawing these really quickly, but let me draw them properly. And the other thing I've done, so these to emphasize the fact that these arms are like super, super tense. And here, I've put these shoulders up, so these shoulders are like raised high up on the body. Which means this bag has to also be in there. And the bag is a bit higher than the t-shirt, so that's huge. Just make this rubber smaller. So the shoulder bag is just a bit over. And it's being pulled, so it would be quite tense over her shoulder. So when you watch an animation, animators will spend most of the time for a scene picking their poses and really thinking about how to tell an audience as quick as humanly possible what that character is thinking and feeling. So when you see a movie poster for a character, that's a studio's first opportunity to let you know who that character is. So they'll have spent a lot of time coming up with that pose and really trying to get some kind of emotion into that. Okay, so I don't like this line. See this line here? This line, it's got a bit of a curve. These have slight curves on them, and that makes it look like it's a bit looser. I want it to look like there's a lot of tension in it, so I'm going to, because she's pulling it. I keep saying she, this is obviously me, but my doodle version of me is different to me. She's better here. Okay, so something else to consider when you're doing a drawing is something called negative space. Negative space is kind of what it sounds like. It's the space in between your drawing. So let me get a different colour. It's bright purple here. So the negative space in this drawing is in here. See this shape here? And you want to try and find opportunities to put nice negative space in your drawing. So we've got some here, got this little shape in here. And then obviously the whole edge of your drawing is negative space as well. Her hair's going to come up, but at the moment I've got her hair starting right in there, but it'd be cool to get some negative space in. So if I do that here, I'll make her hairline start there instead. So it's just looking for opportunities to, if you do have little spaces in places, just to make them have a kind of a purpose, I suppose, rather than just everything mashed into one place. And the other thing is try and avoid is tangenting lines. So a tangent of a line would be, if you did this, say this was a box here, and you had another box but it started exactly there. It would be hard for the viewer to see where one stopped and one ended. So you'd probably want them to actually overlap a bit, because then it's a bit of a prettier space. And you'll see it in films. You'll have like somebody's hand. This, oh my god, that's a hand apparently. Someone's hand, and then their pinky finger will be like exactly in line with the corner of a house or something, and that really annoys me, because you wanna have everything have its own space. Or if it doesn't have its own space, clearly overlap them, so that you're not, how would you put it? So you're not confused when you look at it. Straight away, you know. When I used to do drawings and bring them into Photoshop, I would spend so long penciling them into my sketchbook. I used to get really annoyed of the concept of having to redraw them with a nice line in the computer. And I used to think there was some kind of trick that I didn't know about, so that you didn't have to. And I'm sure there is. I'm sure there's, like, if you had a really super duper really good scanner, you could maybe get away with doing it. But I found, for me, the secret to making my work look good is to, just read it again. And with things like the smoothing tool, which helps me have less jittery lines, that really helps. Okay, so this is a good example of touching the lines. What I could do here is I could go right to this top of this hair and I could just draw it so that they connect perfectly. But it's a bit prettier if I go from here. And then I add some weight. You can see that that piece of hair is over the top of this one. So it adds less confusion. Without even knowing it, the viewer can see what's going on. Okay, so this is the face. Let's make this brush smaller. And what we're going to do is get this little nose. These little eyes. You may notice if you ever look at my Instagram, I don't really have a style, say, like some people have such a clear character that they use every single time on Instagram, and I've tried, but I just enjoy changing it up. Maybe I'll eventually commit to something, but I'm still learning, so I like to change it up a bit. So sometimes I do dots of eyes, and sometimes I do proper round eyes, like that, where they have like the whites of the eyes and stuff. I do really like this too. I want this line to be more straight. So one of the other things that is a really good, it happens naturally in nature and in the body, is to have a curve and a straight, and it's considered just much more appealing shape. So if I drew a straight line like this, and then I did a curve and a curve and a curve like that. Oh, okay, well, I've done that wrong. Hang on. I'll draw that again. We'll draw a straight line. And then we do curve, curve. You kind of have a natural leg appearing. It's more like an angled curve. But the body, and you have an arm, you'd have a straight bottom arm, and then you have like a curve on top. And then you'd have an elbow. And the hand as well, the hand with all curves and straights. So if you did a thumb, you do a curve and straight. Fingers, curves, straight, curve. So it's just kind of one of those rules that people use to help them. If you go to a life drawing class, you can naturally see it occurring. The body just squashes and stretches naturally. So, yeah, I'm going to do a little straight. And I'm hoping she kind of looks quite nervous. So what can we do to make her look even more nervous? Well, one thing we can do is the eyebrows are an amazing tool to get across an emotion. So let's bring them down. And I work with a mirror right next to me, so whenever I try to create emotions on a face, I will have a look in the mirror and see what I can get from my real face. Let's give her some asymmetry. So asymmetry is if you have a face like this and you have two eyes. Symmetry is when they're the same. Oh, well, you can draw them the same when they're the same. And asymmetry would be if one of them's different to the other. So you can see that, like, you might not know exactly what she's feeling, but it's better than if I had just drawn somebody stood with like their arms straight and their body straight. Like, obviously, you know, this kind of drawing has its place too with something straight, but this look to me looks a bit more confused. Like he's like, what the kind of thing. But I wanted this to look as if she's like, whoa, this guy's gonna torture me. So that's what we're getting there. I am gonna draw this machine in the middle, and I'll give you a shout. Okay, so I did some changing. I made him bigger, the sign, I switched it over, and I just made it one machine. So I want you to really see what the joke is about, which is the fact that these machines are terrifying. They're really fun, really like them, but they are terrifying. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is color. I'm just going to do a block color on the back. What I will show you is that this is what I like to do when I do a drawing. I take loads of these color palettes off the internet. If you go to Pinterest, but you go to Pinterest and you just write in color palettes, you'll find an absolute ton of them. I think I'm going to take these guys for this one, and I might throw in a purple as well. Then I just jump back and forward to paint everything. Okay, so if you see this pop up, this is what I'm doing. Yeah. So let us paint. Okay, so there we go. Had a big break in there where I was watching a TV show, but yeah, we're finished now. So this is the drawing. Like I say, like there's so much more I could do to this and tidy it and clean it and stuff, but I learned a while ago that I do this for fun. So sometimes it's not as polished as it could be. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions about what I did today, oh, it's not right. Oh, stop doing that. Yeah, if you guys have any questions about anything you saw today, or if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see in the future, please give me a shout. I am always thinking of new ideas for videos. And I love chatting with you guys, so it's always good to hear from you. Like I said in my last video, I'm currently doing Pilates and learning French and doing guitar and ukulele, and I'm drawing my progress and all the weird things that are happening as we go along, like this one here. So hopefully I should have some more for you soon. So thank you for sitting and drawing with me today. I will now email this photo to myself and post it on Instagram for you guys to see. But that's my process. So see you guys soon. Bye!